Hey, Benjamin Portnoy here from Side Hustle Elevator. I wanted to tell you about this tracker that I built. I buy and sell used drum equipment and some other stuff too, but I was trying to figure out a really reliable way to keep track of everything that I was spending, and I realized that I live in Houston, Texas, and it's just massive here. And so if I need to go buy something on the other side of town, we're talking about like an hour drive and several tolls. And I realized that I was calculating expenses and that I wasn't taking those things into account. And so I built one that did that. And so I have created this and made it so that you can get a copy of it. And it's at the bottom of the video here underneath in the comments. So let me run you through it real quick. It's free, doesn't cost anything. You just put your name and email in and you get it for free and download it to your Google Drive. So we start on sales records here, and I've put in some, this is basically an empty template for you to use. I've put in some sample information here. So if I were to sell sample or buy rather sample product one, I put in a date and then where I got it and how many miles and how many minutes it took and what I paid for it. And then what's cool about this is calculating the cost of gas. I think I put like 12.9 cents per mile based on how many miles I've driven. So if we delete this and we say maybe like 50 miles, you can see what happens. It's a little slow right now since we're recording. It goes up, so that's kind of cool. And then tolls, you can add that in, maybe like 10 bucks in tolls. And then when I go to sell it, we have packing materials, 10 bucks, shipping through USPS or UPS or whatever, 30 bucks, selling fees. And then you have this cool little drop down here to say where it is. If you decide to keep it for yourself, which I do with some of the drum stuff, or if it's still for sale. And so that's all the kind of the what you're spending on something. And then this is the fun part where you're making money, all in green. So here's your selling price and then the shipping fee that you've collected and the date you've sold it. And so some of this is for your own just records, and some of it is to help calculate really your profitability. And so what's good is to keep track of where you're selling things. And I've created a drop down here that has a lot of these options. But let's say you don't have, you're selling on a marketplace where it's not in here and you want to be able to record that. Well, if you look down here, I'm in the sales records tab. If you go to list of resale marketplaces, here's another one. You can type that in, as many as you want, and then you go to sales, and you can see it's added it in to that drop down. So that's a nice customizable feature. We'll take that out of there though. Okay, so what this does is it puts together all of your total costs and then all of the profit you've collected from the selling price and the shipping fee. And then it subtracts the costs from the profit, and then you get your net profit. You also get your profit percentage based on what your total costs were. Now, what's cool about this is it also tracks your growth over time, because you can see we have just by each product, it goes up incrementally. So if we go to the dashboard, you can see we have all of these sort of higher level categories, what you've spent, as well as your gross numbers. 1,200 is what you've spent out of pocket, plus miscellaneous expenses, which is all down here. You can see that. And then what you've collected from sales, and then the shipping fees you've collected separately, and then the gross profit. And again, we take the gross profit minus total spent, and that is what you're working with here, what your actual profit is. and as well as how many miles you've driven all over town and how many hours you've spent on this whole thing. And then we have some cool visualizations here. If you spend a lot of time on eBay or Reverb or whatever, you can see which marketplaces you're spending the most time on. And if you want to crank that up elsewhere, as well as kind of a bar chart of everything that's up here. But what's great is you can see your growth over time. So from January to August, you've grown from $8 in profit up to $1,500 cumulatively in profit. So you can see how well you're doing over time. So again, you can get this free. All you have to do is enter your name and email in the form. You get there by clicking in the link that's below this video. And if you have any questions or thoughts or ways I can improve this, feel free to leave them in the comments. Be sure to hit subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Thanks.